Welcome to Dad Life FXD. My name is Mike. Here on this channel, we just like to do cool projects with the boys and I try and be that cool dad and build cool stuff. So today is the first video series on our 1981 Trans Am, and also the first time we're really going to be using this two-post car lift in our new shop setup. So behind me here is the car lift and also the car. So we're going to get it jacked up and do a walkthrough and kind of just give you a rundown on what exactly it is, what we bought, and the new project. And then after we do that, we are going to take the carburetor off the car. It's a running car. I've driven it a little bit, but the carburetor is super old in this thing and it keeps on flooding out. And I have my old Holley 4-barrel carburetor that I took off my dad's old truck. I did a carb swap on that, if you've watched that video. So since I have it and it's not going to cost that much, we're going to go ahead and put the new carburetor on this thing and get rid of the old GM carburetor. So you guys stay tuned, hang out, and let's check this thing out. All right, with this two-post lift, we got the car pretty much centered, like the weight centered in between these two main beams. And then we swing out, let's see, this thing, these pieces right here are adjustable up and down, and then it goes in and out. Now we'll go to the other side. And it kind of takes a minute to get used to getting the car lined up like perfectly so you don't have to adjust it. Up on bay one. All right, so when it goes up, the clicking sound every couple inches are the safety locks. So I'm going to raise it back up and then I'm going to lower it slowly to make sure that my locks engage. So let's take a little tour. So Memphis, you stay out from underneath it. So we have a 81 Trans Am. It was a factory T-top 4-speed car. So with the 4-speed option in 81, you could only get the, I want to say it was a 305, but I haven't researched it that much because that motor is no longer in here. A little rusty. You can tell it was parked outside for a while, under cover. So like it's kind of got like that carport outdoor wear. So it does have the factory 4-speed in it, and with the GM 350, which I kind of like because GM 350s are awesome motors, are easy to build. This one actually runs, but it runs horrible. But I think a lot of that is from the carburetor on this car. So he's got long tube headers on it, and other than that, everything on this car underneath is stock besides the motor. So this is the first walk around video on this Trans Am. Everything's really square. There's a couple parts in the paint that have a little bit of chipping on it where these plastic bumpers got hit or something at one point. Other than that, the car was repainted several years ago, silver, and the graphics kit was never put back on it. So I got one of those on order, and hopefully that'll get here soon and we can get that bird back on the front, on the hood. Other than that, we're going to lower this thing back down and we're going to swap this carburetor out, and hopefully that will get this 350 running good. If it doesn't get it running good, then we got kind of a different direction and route we're going to take. So let's get this car back down. So then you just lower it down, make sure it goes down square. I've always seen videos of cars falling off the lifts. That terrifies me with this thing, and I hope that will never happen. All right.
Pop the hood.
All right, so here's the beautiful old greasy 350. This carburetor, it cranks up. I already kind of investigated a little bit. As you can see here, let me get a close up. It's got fuel all over it. When it gets hot and runs, I actually drove it the other day for about 10 minutes. The idle is horrible. We already adjusted the timing, which we'll have to do again because we're about to pull all this off. But the idle was horrible. It keeps revving up. Had vacuum leaks everywhere. There was a couple plugs down here that I already had to plug up because they were loose. And once this thing gets warm, fuel just starts dumping everywhere. And it was actually sitting in the intake valleys when it died on me. It just flooded out and went crank back up. So we actually have this old Holley Carburetor off my dad's truck that I took off. And it didn't run that well in his truck. But this thing was brand new. You know, I installed it. I know it does run well. That we just had a little bit of issue with the choke not automatically shutting itself off. So I guarantee you that carb is going to run way better than this, and at least let me be able to investigate the motor more and see how this thing runs. Because if it runs well, we'll have big plans for this motor down the road, and we'll keep it and use it. If it doesn't, then we might be on the LS swap train, I'm thinking. So I'm kind of on the fence about that, but hopefully this carburetor will help me with that decision.
Okay guys, we're going to take off the carburetor and the intake. But first, I want to try a little movie magic to make this thing go quicker. Oh, that was pretty easy. Now we gotta just inspect it.
So we got the carb and intake manifold off. Luckily we did take it off because there was a couple bolts that weren't really tight, and they used all RTV instead of using an actual gasket, which isn't that uncommon. That's kind of normal. So what we're gonna do, just to kind of get a baseline and make sure we're all good, we're gonna put new intake gaskets on it. We're gonna get our intake manifold cleaned up, clean up some of this wiring and hoses just around here, maybe paint a little bit, get it squared away, and then we're going to go back with the Holley Carburetor on the new intake, or the new sealed up intake manifold, see if we can get this thing running decent. If it does run decent, we'll go from there, and then we'll know, okay, we have a decent motor. Now we can think about cams, heads, all that stuff this winter, and kind of start tweaking this thing out. So back together. So we just got the intake manifold back on. That went smooth as you saw, but we discovered I was about to say a little issue, but it's a big issue with the future decisions of this motor. I cleaned off the back of the block to clean the gasket cleaner off from the intake manifold, and I uncovered the numbers on the block. So I googled it, and come to find out, this block is a 305. So all that talk before about 350, because that's what I was told from the guy I bought it from, goes to show you always check your numbers. Now I wasn't way concerned about this from the get-go because I knew I had, you know, motor build plans down the road, so it wasn't a huge deal. So that definitely makes the final decision for this winter Trans Am build. It is going to get an LS swap. But it is a 305, and I cleaned a little bit of the block up on the front part as well, and it looked like it had some blue left on it, which would have been the factory color on this car. So I don't know if it was just pulled out and rebuilt and they charged the previous owner for a 350. I'm not sure. At this point, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the motor back together with the new carburetor, the Holley 4-barrel carb that I have because it's free. It's sitting on my shelf. So we're going to get it all back together and get new spark plugs in it, all that stuff, and get this thing running and just see if we can enjoy it and have fun with it. And then we're going to keep an eye out for an LS motor. So there it is, guys. Oh, I was not expecting that. You know, I like taking the word from people and, you know, trusting people, and I honestly think this guy, I don't think he lied to me. You know, I think he honestly thought there was a 350 in it. I mean, from what he was talking, you know, he had the car for 35 years. I just think he worked on it a little bit, but I don't think he was like a very big mechanic and wrenching this thing a lot. You know, I think he just had mechanics do what he needed to be done, or what needed to be done to the car. So I honestly don't think he knew. So back to it. Let's get this thing together and get it running. Check this out. So right here, you see that rubber hose coming from the distributor. That is your vacuum advance. So this needs to be hooked up to this vacuum port right here, and cut it to length so it's not all crazy looking.
Let's cut it right.
No, let's put it up here first. Look.
Yeah.
Put it like right there,
Where
maybe.
that little line is. Oh, yeah, right there. Is that good?
Yep. Now put it on your port. Good deal. What was that?
The vacuum.
Advance.
Advance.
It runs the advanced timing on the distributor, right?
Just make sure it's tight. Yep, there
That's
you
good.
go.
All right. What next? Our brake booster vacuum.
Yep.
Let's rotate that back down. This is gonna run off the back of the carburetor. So remember the timing advance vacuum, Memphis?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that I just cut off.
You have another vacuum on the back, a big vacuum on the back of your carburetor, and that actually is like a house vacuum, and it creates negative pressure in your brake booster, and that's called power brakes.
Okay.
Let's see, upper radiator hose. You want to put that on? You got both clamps?
Yep, both clamps. Okay.
So let's see how this. Probably like that. All right, I'll get this one on. You get that one on.
Looks like.
Go get that silicone spray. We'll put a little bit of WD-40 or the silicone. And we'll put a little bit of lube on these so they tighten up okay since they're old. They don't have any hose clamps that big to replace them. So if you spray a little bit of silicone on these guys, like that, these old ones will tighten up a lot easier. Now flathead and tighten it down. Think we got our spark plug wires right?
Hopefully.
Let's hope so. I think it's gonna fire up. What do you think?
Yeah. Most definitely.
Is that tight?
Yep, that's tight. You can tighten it up if you want.
That's good.
Did you get the silicone on that one?
Yeah, I already sprayed it. The carburetor on, the throttle cable hooked up. I had to change the end out on the throttle cable because it was OEM, and I had to put a Holley's little adapter on there. Got all the vacuum lines hooked up, spark plugs hooked up from a diagram I found on Google, so hopefully it's the right one and we're not all messed up on the spark plug wires. It's not timed, so hopefully it'll fire up and I can get my timing light out and twist the distributor to time it. We got all the vacuum hoses hooked up, right? Everything's good? All right, let's get some gas in this thing. Let's see if it starts. Gasoline! Nevis, you ready?
Yeah.
Think it's on fire?
Yeah.
Little bit of petrol. Move it out the way. All right, you guys stand back here. Around the corners, keep an eye on it. If you see anything like crazy, just tell me to stop. Cool?
Yeah. Yep. What do you think it is?
I have no clue.
Dang it.
All right, so we got nothing now. We got fuel, I believe. I think we have a spark. I'm not sure. I gotta check. The spark. I might have Googled the wrong firing sequence for this distributor and this motor. So, investigation mode. Let's see what's going on. All right, investigation mode complete. We figured out our problem. It's been about a week and a half since the Trans Am wouldn't fire up. So I figured out with a little bit of looking that I forgot to plug the ignition wire in to the back of the distributor. So there's a little plug back there that it slides right in, a little spade fitting from the ignition. It gives power to the distributor. I forgot to check that and I forgot to plug it up. So it is plugged up now. The distributor has power. So let's retry this again and see if this thing will fire up. right, there she is, running good. Much better. She still has a 305, so we got future plans for her. This was the first episode of the Trans Am build, kind of tune up, however you want to call it. My boys helped me. We had fun. So now we gotta start nailing out the list. Nailing out the list of what we want to do to upgrade this thing. You know, obviously the future of this car, I want it to be like a super reliable, fast driver. So probably gonna do the LS swap, do suspension upgrade, brake upgrade, new tires, you know, just all the stuff to make it like a good runner. But now, you guys wanna go for a ride?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. What do you guys think? Is this pretty cool?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go!
Woo! Put a little drive in.
Oh, you can see the cell phone tower right there.
Woo! Not bad. That's it. Yee!
Yeah.
Alright guys, thanks for watching episode 1 of the Trans Am build series. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.